So I'm going to demonstrate how to use chunk and chew as a reading strategy for students in the classroom who are having trouble reading or just need some support in understanding difficult text, which is what they're working with at the high school level. So I have this document here, the Gettysburg Address, in a Google Doc, and what I'm going to do is just show what chunk and chew really means. So the first thing I'm going to do is say that I'm going to chunk this into 3 equal parts because it's in 3 paragraphs. You can chunk a text in any way you like. You can put more than 1 paragraph, you can put more than 1 stanza, more than 1 part of a text, anyway, but just let the students know how you're going to do it. And I'm going to model it the way I would for a student, and then I would let the students do it. So right now I'm in a Google Doc, which means that I have the ability to comment, and that's how I'm going to use it. But you can do this on a smartboard, Promethean board, to show the students how you're annotating the text. So here we have this part, and this is my first chunk. So 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. There are lots of words in here that probably are going to throw the students off. And when a student is thrown off by a vocabulary word, he or she just stops reading and might be decoding the words, but really isn't thinking about what he's reading. So here, right here, fourscore. So this is a term, a phrase that we just don't use anymore. So students might have a question about that. So instead of telling them what it means when I'm modeling, I'm going to instead say, I'm thinking fourscore. What the heck is fourscore? What does that even mean? And that's my question here. So I'm going to take a comment and I'm going to put it in here. What does fourscore mean? And then leave that there. So that's my first comment. Then I'm going to think, so it must have something to do with years because it says 77 years ago. So it's time related. Somehow it's time related. I'm not really sure why it's time related, but let me put something down here and say that I'm going to reply to this and I'm going to say it's time related maybe. And this is something students can do in Google, but they can also do it on their paper with pen and pencil. And then I'm going to say our fathers brought forth on this continent. Well, who are our fathers? What does this mean? What does this phrase mean to me? Why is it asking about our fathers? Who are our fathers? And why do I care? So I'm going to say that. And right now all I'm doing is interacting with the text, and this is what you want students to do when they're reading closely and they're trying to understand what they're reading. So our fathers brought forth on this continent. So I know that I'm talking about the United States, but you want to make sure that the students are knowing that they're talking about the United States. We do have students from a lot of different countries, and they may not be totally on board with this continent being the United States. A new nation, conceived in liberty. So conceived might be a new vocabulary word for a student, so you could highlight that. Conceived in liberty. Why is liberty capitalized? So you might want to put that. So what does conceived mean? And why is liberty capitalized? What this is going to do is help the students and you have a very rich discussion in class, because now you're going to understand what the students are struggling with. And dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Okay, so here's proposition. What does that mean? What does proposition mean? And all men are created equal. Now, this is a big deal now. All men are created equal. What about women? So this might be a question that some students sitting in your class might be very concerned about. And all men, does all men mean all races? Does all men mean all people? What does that mean? So this is just the first chunk, and I here have 4 basic questions, and I have 5 replies that I made to myself already. This is myself. Now I would turn and talk to a group of my peers and share with them what I wrote down, maybe get some answers, maybe get some thoughts, maybe write down some interesting notes of things that people say, and then turn and bring all of these questions and all of these responses back to the class, to the teacher, and really have a rich discussion about just this tiny chunk of the text. It's really important to make sure you're spending time with students on difficult text so that they really do understand what they're working with. Otherwise, it's going to be you doing all the work and you telling them what everything means and them saying, I didn't get it in the first place, so it doesn't even matter to me. So that's chunk and chew using a social studies text. Next, we'll do a math word problem.